Good day. My name is Glenn Johnson. I'm a business analyst that works for AdCorp in the Operations Shared Services Department. If you are looking at this video, that means you have been identified as a temp staff timesheet approver, which means on a daily basis you'll be getting timesheets for temp staff that worked the previous day. You'll be reviewing those times, making corrections if needed, and sending your approval for those hours worked by temp staff. As a way to increase efficiency for timesheets, the AdCorp Group has developed the ERS automated workflow system. Now this system will work with you in much the same way as a human being would in terms of sending you daily emails with a timesheet where you can open the timesheet, see if there's any corrections, and request those corrections via email by sending it back to the system. Now this is using technology, as you know, and many of us have had bad experiences with technology, and you might be asking yourself the question, can I trust this system? Is it reliable? Is it quick? Will I have to wait half a day for the corrections that I've requested? I'm used to signing a physical printed out timesheet and authorizing it with my signature. This is an electronic system. How will I be able to, where's my electronic signature? How am I going to sign a timesheet? What happens if on a day I'm absent? How will the system know to send the timesheet to my manager or my second in command to approve those times? What happens if I go on leave? Can I nominate somebody that the timesheets will be directed to instead of me during the time I'm on leave? Now these are all perfectly valid questions, and I'll be tackling all of them, and hopefully by the end of this video you'll be satisfied that the system is not only safe but secure and stable. So what you're looking at here is just what we call a rich picture or an overview of the whole system. And there's many elements here that don't really apply to you. In fact, the only thing that applies to you now in this video are the daily timesheets, these highlighted yellow areas. What will happen on a daily basis is the system is going to trigger at a certain time every day to send you a daily timesheet via email. You'll make those changes and send the changes back to the system. The system will pull in those changes and then send you a new timesheet with those changes in it. If you're happy with those changes, you can send through confirmation saying, I approve this time, it's settled. You may have more corrections, and you keep cycling through until you are happy to authorize those times. Now I'd like to take you through an example of a timesheet so you can see what you can see the breakdown of a timesheet and know how to read it, make changes, and request the changes via email. To break it down, you'll see, and just to know, that when you open it, sometimes at the top here you may see something that says protected view, enable editing. Don't worry about that. That's a security feature from Microsoft. It's something we can't override. If you do see that, just click the button that says enable editing. You won't see it here. Don't worry. If you do see it, feel free to just click that enable editing and you're safe, you're fine. From the top to the bottom, you'll see the first heading here saying daily timesheet. Scroll to the right. The next thing you'll see is the date it was generated on. This one was generated today, it's 27th, at 7:10 in the morning. And this will be your client's name, the site that you work at. The next line down will be the period for this timesheet. It was generated on the 27th, but it was for the previous day, the 26th, from midnight till the end of the day. The next line down will be your authorizer PIN, where you'll put your PIN code. Now to answer your question about where do I sign, this is where you sign, but not with a signature, with a digital signature or what we call PIN number. Just like when you're paying for, let's say, a pair of jeans with your credit card or your debit card, you'll need to put in your PIN number to verify that this is my credit card and it's me paying for it because only I know the PIN number. You'll be determining your own PIN number for authorizing these timesheets. Please do not ever give this PIN number to anybody because then that violates security. But I'm sure you'll agree with me that this is more secure than a signature. Signatures are easily to copy and you could have fraudulent signatures, somebody doing it on your behalf. If nobody knows your PIN code, nobody can make changes and the system will reject any changes that have the wrong PIN code in there or no PIN code in there. The next element over here is the action section, where you can set the timesheet to either approve the hours that you see or if you need to make changes, you can set the timesheet to request changes. The next row down is your column headings row. The first section over here is all about the employee details, what their employee number is, what their export code is, and the export code mainly has to do with payroll information and the employee name. The next is the date over here, what data was pulled for. Then the next section over here is the clocking information, what the actual clocking time was when that employee clocked, what the shift starting time is that the clock in has been rounded up to start the time paying from that time. The out time, the actual time they clocked out, a little bit after the shift time, and what the time we're paying up until, what the shift ending time is, as well as the break time. Here, the next section over here is the total amounts of times over here. Total normal time, overtime, double time, shift allowance, paid public holiday time, leaves, and unpaid times. These will be different from site to site, but you can make changes here as well. There's also shift. There will be a various, depending on what shift rules have been set up for your account, you can change the shift rules if a person's pulled through on the wrong shift. The next section over here will be also customized to your site, but it'll show you what we call the hours allocations details. Now here, cost center, what these hours, what department these hours will be charged to. When you get your invoices, if you've changed these hours to inspection, the invoice will be marking these hours to be charged to the inspection department. Positions, another one you might want to change, or the rate group, the rate at which the person's being changed, an operator in rate 1 or rate 2, etc., etc. So that's the breakdown of the columns. Now, making changes. Please note there are 3 different types of changes you can make. The first type of changes, we call them reprocessing changes. Anything that requires the system to remove all hours and reprocess hours fresh. These type of changes are either changes to the shift rules, which are reprocess changes, or the clock in and out times. If you need to make these changes, please note that the changes will first delete any previous changes that you've made and then reprocess the changes and recalculate how much normal time, overtime, shift allowances needed to be given to this person. The other type of changes would be whole time changes. You are able to say normal time, let's change that to 12 hours, and let's change this double time to 2 hours. You are welcome to do that. These are non-reprocessing changes. It doesn't require the system to recalculate anything. It just updates the hours. The other change would be the hours allocations details, where you can change, as I showed you earlier, what the positions are, what the rates are, and what cost center we're charging these to. The next changes would be, please note that if you're changing in and out times, any change that needs to reprocess changes, please make those changes first before you do any other change. The reason is, if you've made changes to whole times here, and then you get your second timesheet, and then after that you make changes to in and out times, your changes to your whole times will be removed, and the system will reprocess and add in the allocation times. Please also note that if you're changing in and out times, you always need to put in the break time. The way the system has been designed is the in and out times must always be accompanied by the break time. If you don't put in a break time, the break time will be 0 and will not minus any break time. Let's say you need to make a change for an employee. You find this employee over here. Maybe Muhammad Vali could not clock for that day, so he needs to have a clock in time. He had a problem with his finger, or there was some reason he needs his time. So you give him his time, 7 hours and 30 minutes. His out time would be 1600 hours. And his break time 30. If you want to request these changes, then you'll go to put your PIN number. Let's say my PIN number was Peaches, or my password is Peaches, or 12345. and you'd mark the timesheet as request changes. Then you would save and send, and you would send the attachment back. Now this will take a bit of time to load because my emails aren't open, but when it does open, you'll see the email where you put a specific address. There we go. The address is auto@ersbiometrics.co.za. That is the address that will redirect your changes to the system. The system will then pull in those changes, create a new timesheet with those changes. In this case, it's processing in and out times, so it's also going to recalculate how much normal time, shift allowance, overtime the person needs, and send you another timesheet. Let me just send that. If you get the new timesheet back and you're happy with everything, you approve the hours and you send back with the PIN code. So that is the breakdown of the timesheet. I haven't taken you through whole times, but that works in much the same way, and I'm not going to repeat myself too much. I just want to summarize and reiterate some important things about making changes and using these timesheets. Please do not use seconds. I haven't actually touched on this, but if you do see seconds in or out times, this will have an accuracy effect on your invoices. If you have seconds in your invoices, if you have seconds in your timesheets, when that is imported into our payroll system, the payroll system will do a certain amount of rounding, the seconds rounding to minutes, and will actually make a bit of a difference. The difference will only be 0.01 of an hour, of a decimal hour, so it will be a very small change, but it will affect the accuracy. If you don't have seconds in any of your times, that will ensure that your invoices will be 100% the same as the timesheets that you're approving and authorizing. So please do not use seconds. As I've stressed earlier, please make reprocessing changes first. The reprocessing changes are clock times, changes to clock times, or changes to shifts. When changing in and out times, please do not forget to include the break as well. It's needed when you're requesting those changes. Make changes to whole hours and allocations after processing time. So that's just the opposite of point number 2 over here. Make reprocessing changes first. Always enter your authorizer PIN. Your changes and your approvals, as said before, will be rejected if you don't put in your PIN. It's a security feature to make sure we can trust it. Should you be absent for a day, we can tell the system that if after 2 hours it doesn't hear from you, then it'll escalate it up to your manager or to your second in command. We can tell the system that. Should you be on leave, you can always contact us and say that you're on leave. Your second in command must now be the timesheet authorizer or approver. So we'll redirect the emails to rather send to them first in that day. Alright, so in summary, that is how you use your timesheets. And I hope by now you have a better confidence, have a greater confidence in the timesheet process to say that they are secure. They're in fact more secure than a physical timesheet that you have signed, where someone could easily make the changes and sign for you on your behalf and make it look like your signature. You can easily lose these timesheets, but on the system you never will lose it. It's always saved. In fact, after you've approved times, they will send you a PDF version, a fixed unchangeable version saying you've approved these times. Should the invoice come and say different times to what you've approved, you've got yourself covered. You can always go back to that confirmation email saying, I did not approve those times, here's what I approved. So it's covering you as well in terms of checking your invoices and making sure everything is 100% accurate. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope that it has settled your mind and that you are comfortable with making these changes and using this ERS automated workflow system. Thank you very much. Goodbye.